My newest article for Out Magazine talks about Social Security and some of our legal victories for financial equality you probably didn't know about. If you grow old with your partner and they pass away before you do, you'd continue to receive their Social Security benefits. These are called survivor's benefits, and about 4 million Americans receive them, with the average payout being around $1,500 a month. For a long time, though, queer people in same-sex marriages and civil unions weren't eligible for this money. Considering we spend our entire working lives paying into this program, that's fucked up. It was only in 2013 that Social Security survivor's benefits and inheritance tax perks began to include couples in same-sex partnerships. Later, district cases like 2020's Thornton v. Saul found that if queer widows should have received survivor's benefits, but didn't due to discriminatory laws at the time, they can claim the back pay. By the way, Thornton was a class action lawsuit, so if this happened to you or someone you know, information on how to join the class is on Lambda Legal's website. LGBTQ elders are twice as likely to be single and living alone, and they're 4 times as likely to not have children. Since they're more likely to financially struggle than their straight counterparts, programs like Social Security help elders, grieving family members, and people with disabilities live their lives with dignity. Also, both queer and straight Americans depend on Social Security income a lot. One analysis found that for half of the 65 million people who receive benefits, this money accounts for at least half of their monthly income. For 1 in 5, it was 90% or more of their income. This is due to the fact that a lot of people can't or won't save enough money to retire, because retirement in this country is becoming more difficult to reach. Now, the system isn't perfect. The most recent efforts to downsize Social Security position the cuts as a way to reduce fraud, because yes, there is some fraud. Fraud usually means identity theft, with the recipient being the one defrauded. But there have been times when the recipient was the scammer, because they did things like fake a disability or not report a loved one's death to keep those paychecks coming in. There's also insolvency, the ongoing fear that eventually more money from Social Security will pay out than come in, and the whole thing will go belly up. Taxing billionaires even a little bit would solve a lot of these shortfalls. That's because when Social Security was invented in 1935, we never forecasted that this much of America's wealth would be disproportionately held by the top 1%. Since Social Security tax is only applied to about the first 176K of earnings annually, the super rich who made $11 million last year pay very little compared to what they earn. A lot more of the wealth being generated each year is being earned by the highest earners, so it's ineligible for Social Security tax, which contributes to shortfalls. Queer people should learn about the basics of personal finance so they can live better lives. One aspect of this means understanding issues like Social Security reform, so that when it dominates news headlines, you feel informed rather than overwhelmed. When we help protect queer elders and other vulnerable populations, we tap back into empathy and keep our history alive. Follow for more commentary on economics and queer culture.